but they ask us to close our eyes. And when we open, we are once again in our old house. So there are elevators which take us once again to the other apartments. With the help of the automatic electronic system, we find ourselves again in the older houses. So the planets never help us. Many times they try to help us, but we will go back. After many tests, the real help comes. When you want to do something to the humanity, it will be done through you, because the planets help you. How? By way of money? No. By way of opportunities? No. These planets bring you in touch with persons who are greater than yourself, and also persons who want your guidance and help. Now you find some people ahead of you and some people behind you. If you are to go to New York tomorrow for their work, you will be sent. If your ship is going to sink in the oceans, there will be somebody who brings a lifeboat and saves you. Only when you have no glamour for yourself to protect yourself. Because when the ship is sinking, you are expected to think of the other passengers when you are in this level, not about yourself. If you are really thinking of other passengers only, you will be saved, because you have to save other passengers. Suppose I believe in this and say to myself, let me think of only other passengers so that I may be saved. Then there is nobody to save me. There is a little story narrated in folklore of South India. In the caves of a mountain in the midst of a forest, there is a temple of Mother Goddess, and a person wanted to go there and practice meditation and know the future of everyone. There he found a big stone and a big sword, very heavy. He took the sword and saw something written on the stone. It was written that whoever cuts his neck and offers his head to the Mother Goddess with that sword will have his head once again back safe on his neck. And he will live. Since then, he will know the future of everyone on this earth. He said, yes, that's good. And then he took it out and he tried to cut his own neck. But in the meanwhile, a thought came to his mind. If someone has written here for mischief, my head would never return to my neck. Then what happens to my sweet wife? Then he returned home. And after 6 months, someone assured him that it was correct. And once again he went there. And he just lifted the sword. And upon another stone it was written that one who has any doubt about the greatness of the Mother Goddess will lose his head forever. Then he placed the sword once again and went home safe. After 6 months, his wife called him and said, "You fool, don't have any doubt, go and try." So he went there and took the sword for a third time. And he was sure that the head would return to him, because he had no doubt now, because he knows he should not doubt. If at all he doubts, his head will not be back. So he was just shaking the sword to just put it on his neck. Then he saw on a third stone another sentence. Those who are sure that their head would return safely will lose their head. Those who are really prepared to lose their head, then their head will be safe. The fellow went home safe. And till the end of August 1982, he is coming and going. So, such will be the tests of the fellow who is in the soul level. The planets never test him, people never test him, and the God, poor fellow, he never tests him. But at every step, his conscience tests him. Now, he has the help of the planets. If you read the life incidents of such people, you will know what it is. One of those who was called Kiro, in the end of the previous century and the beginning of this century, he was there as the modern seer, who was famous for his world predictions, who for the first time predicted 3 global wars. In 1913, he predicted and published his prediction. Next year, in 1914, the First World War broke out according to the date given by him. A result of it, the wise men of all countries proscribed his book as a sign of their love of wisdom and science. And for the first time, he predicted the possibility of a third world war near the oil fields of the Muslim areas. He predicted it in 1913, and he was going around from country to country, and many times he was in danger of life, and he had the helpers around him always who helped him and saved him. For example, when he was traveling in a train, some unknown stranger advised him to accept anything given by anyone out of affection and not to reject it. And when he had been to India, one of the notable personalities presented him with a golden cigarette case, and he was not a smoker. Just he wanted to say, excuse me, I am not a smoker. But he recollected the words of the stranger who advised him and accepted it and kept it in his pocket always in memory of the person who had presented it. And one night in London, a dacoity stabbed through a curtain to kill him for money, and he was stabbed on the cigarette case. Because the case was there in the pocket, it received the stab, and he could catch the dacoity and hand over to the police. You will find not less than 50 or 60 such incidents in his life, every time so mysterious. Horoscope are an ashram of planetary tendencies. If you find yourself astrologically, you will see that the sun is working in you as your own I am, the moon as mind, Mercury as intellect, Jupiter as your wisdom, Venus as your pleasure, and Saturn as your discipline, and here Mars as your continuity of purpose. That is your capacity to endure and do some work. The planets are only symbols, but these are the tendencies which we are having inside, the seeds of our personality. Instead of using one language, we are using another language in astrology. So every one of us is a packet of these seeds, and that which differs from one to another is the proportion of these capacities. According to the permutations and combinations of these 7 qualities, we differ from each other. And when we had no discipline, we differed on the plane of our appetites and animal tendencies. After much pain in our experience, we differed only in our ideas and concepts. And after some more experience, we know that others differ, and we stopped differing from others. And then finally, we understood that this is all a game and a play of the planetary tendencies, each person being a laboratory of the group of planets. So, according to our level of meeting life, these planets change their terms of relationship with us, and they work in the 4 capacities with us, and they make us understand the real meaning of what we call happiness and unhappiness, good and bad. For example, in the horoscopes of all great people who have gone high above the level of common herd of humanity, and who have come to the level of helping and working for humanity, we find planets in horrible relationships like this. Any 2 planets in this relationship are enough to kill and smash the one who is in the individual level. If there is Sun square Uranus in the horoscope, exactly in one of the 4 corners or cardinal points in his horoscope, automatically his life is marred forever. I know one who had Uranus in the 7th house and no bad planets at all, and the other 3 corners of his cardinal points. He married once. His wife died of smallpox. He married for a second time. His wife committed suicide, and he wanted to marry a third time. And there was a police case due to that lady, and he was imprisoned for 6. And for the 5th time he wanted to get married, and there was no opportunity, and that is the present position. But more horrible horoscopes you can see, those who live in the plane of will and soul, they are very happy with wife and children. The wife is not at all an eccentric or a crank, as it is written in the popular textbooks of astrology. If you open a market textbook of astrology and read the results of Uranus in 7th house in opposition to Sun, you will find that the astrologer uses all types of foul language about your wife. He calls her an idiot, a crank, and he will be miserable to you lifelong. In fact, he writes in the pages, here is your wife, who is the plague of your life. Like that he writes, but they are wonderfully happy. I have seen not less than 4 horoscopes. This is because they try to understand what the planets want to speak. So, without the so-called bad aspects in the birth chart, no one has gone above the level of the common humanity and became great enough to be of some help to humanity in some way. If you find the horoscopes of all the noble men and international notable fellows who proved progressive and helpful to humanity, let it be in the religious or spiritual levels, or political or commercial levels, or on the levels of international economics or sociology or ethics, they have unfailingly in their horoscope what we call the bad aspects. Bad aspects very strongly and prominently they have in their horoscopes. That too, the bad aspects touching the four corners of their cardinal cross. That is the first house, fourth house, seventh house and 10th house. According to the popular astrology, these fellows were to be marred forever and damned forever. But what about people like Albert Einstein? Nobody could mar him. What about Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi? What about Abraham Lincoln? Nobody could mar them. Even at the cost of their bodies, they stood there for humanity. So, this is one aspect of spiritual astrology. Unless there are what are called bad aspects in the horoscope, one cannot soar high above the common tendencies of human beings. And the real meaning and interpretation of bad aspect is like this by the esoteric astrologers. I will explain you a little. The sun is the lord of expansion of consciousness. Saturn is the lord of solidifying and materializing. So, when viewed from the first angle, the sun is the lord of heat. Saturn is the lord of coldness. See, sun is the lord of love and Saturn is the lord of misanthropy. That is love of oneself, not accepting the presence of others. So, if there is a square aspect between the two, the fellow will be a crank of the first waters. He cannot fit in with any type of society. If he happens to be a student, he calls his professor a fool. And if he happens to be a professor, he calls his students fools. If he happens to be an employee, he calls his boss an idiot. And the result is he is a failure everywhere, driven from house to house. Cannot tolerate others in the false name of discipline. Cruelty under the false name of purity. Misanthropy in the false name of philosophy. Heartlessness in the false name of unique nature. But this is all to find out an expression between the two. To find out an expression, you have to descend these layers. Then, when you are in the second layer, you will compromise with great difficulty and put up with the persons and environments whom you still call idiots and fools. But you will consider yourself tolerant and noble and great because you are excusing them. Because you have to find some reason to live and earn and eat. The keynote is virtue becomes a necessity. You are pushed into the corner of virtues. But the philosophy is that everyone in this world is a fool, an idiot, but I am just putting up with them because I know more than what they know. The result is life living through great misery like a donkey carrying much luggage. Life is a great burden, but the fellow carries all the burden on his back as long as he lives. Once again, these two teachers or instructors ask us to find if there is a better compromise and a better expression. Then we change the position of our camera, take it to a better angle and try to find out if we have a better angle of the landscape. See, the landscape never changes, but if the photographer were to be an artist, he finds a better angle. Now you will find for the first time a wonderful photographer. Your friends ask you, how is your wife? His answer is, just as all other wives are.
Something fun.
You can ask, how is your job? His answer is, as happy as I can make it happy. And if he asks, how is your boss? The answer is, everything depends upon my behavior with him. So, the first expression, it was an explosion, because it was like a flaming ball of iron thrown into a bowl of muddy water. There was big explosion and many horrible sounds. The second thing, the second relationship is the sound and expression of a kitchen. Because in the kitchen also we will throw cold things in fried oils, etc. But we prepare tasteful sauces. In the third relationship, you will find that everything is already beautiful, provided we do not spoil it. This may be very hot, flaming, but we ask the fellow to sit in the bowl in the form of water, and the result is we will have good boiling water for coffee. Previously, when we were here, we placed the fellow in the bowl of water. Here we found an expression where we could boil our water with the heat of this fellow for our coffee. So goes the preparation of our life through these three steps. When the planets begin to work in our kitchen for us, to give us good boiling water for coffee, etc. And then the planets are there to help at every step. If you show this aspect to the astrologer, an astrologer on the first stage says, oh, it is horrible. In the astrologer of the second step, he says, a life of mixed results. Sometimes you will be happy, sometimes you have difficulties. If you ask how I lead my life, he says the answer is kamsi kamsa. He says the answer is kamsi kamsa. If you ask this astrologer, he says, believe me, you have a purpose in life, he says. And remember that you have to lead your life according to a purpose which you have to detect for yourself. When once you can understand the purpose of your life, he says you will be qualified to lead a section of humanity. See how the mundane astrology differs from spiritual astrology. Therefore, don't have fixed ideas and wrong impressions about planets. Don't call some planets gentlemen and some planets scoundrels. There are certain rules given to the spiritualist about the planets. The first thing is the phenomenon of the cross. At your sunrise, the cross starts in the morning, and you have 6 hours before it is noon. It is called the first quadrant of the day. You will have then the second quadrant from noon to sunset. You have the third quadrant from sunset to midnight, 0 time. And fourth quadrant from 0 time to next sunrise. Understand the mystic language of the ancient geometricians. The ancient geometricians were quite different from what we call geometricians in the 20th century. When the ancient geometricians taught us that the vertically opposite angles are equal, they meant something more important. They only mean that your first and third quadrants will be in one manner during the daytime, during the diurnal rotation, and the second and fourth quadrants will be similar to each other. In the language of this fellow, if the first 6 hours of your day is favorable to you, and if you are getting things done very easily, understand that from 12 o'clock it will be opposite. It has nothing to do with your birth horoscopes, but it is the same with every one of the mankind. Observe the trend of things after you get up from sleep. If you find things encouraging, if you find your friends whom you wanted to meet telephoning to you by themselves, or somebody whom you wanted to meet coming to your house and saying hello, understand the first 6 hours is favorable, and complete as many items of your business as possible before it is 12, because it is just the opposite during the next 6 hours. Again the next 6 hours it will be favorable. Like that, if the first 6 hours when the trend is not encouraging, and in the language of this astrologer, if it is unfavorable, when you have an important business and telephone to a friend and they say that he is out of station, you understand that up to 12 noon things will not be favorable to you, and don't waste your time. And from 12 onwards, before it is sunset, you begin to do, everything will be okay. You can verify it, you will always find it true. But this fellow calls it favorable and unfavorable. But these two fellows, they find it the period of expansion and the period of consolidation. If period is not favorable to you, that means you are doing the wrong thing in the wrong moment. When the period is a period of expansion, then you can do everything outdoor. You can meet your friends and get things done. You can telephone and get your business done. You can meet people and get contracts signed. Thundering success. In the so-called unlucky period, it is not unlucky or unfavorable, but it happens to be a period of consolidation work. Attend to your correspondence, answer all the letters you have in arrears, and make dispatch work and packages, or do some repairs to the house somewhere if there is something. Attend to the garden work and set things right. And then you will have once again the period of expansion alternating with the period of consolidation. This is the difference between the spiritualist and the mundane fellow in understanding astrology. And always the planets indicate us if it is time of expansion or consolidation. When we give an opportunity to them, that is, when we allow things to come to us, and when we do not run to things to do. When once something comes to you, you should not delay, you have to attend immediately. But you have no business to run to something or propose anything before it proposes to you by way of environment. In every occasion when you propose and begin to do something, you will be involved and get into troubles. You have to pay the penalty in terms of money or energy or in terms of your goodwill. But when you wait and things come to you, that means you are called by the planets to do the work. This is the one top secret about which we are trained by the planets every moment. And by following this precisely and carefully, you will wonderfully square up all your accounts of the past karma, and the horoscopes will be audited wonderfully, and you will be always fresh without any brought forth of karma from the previous acts, so that you are not conditioned or involved. At the same time, you are not idle or lazy to postpone. Be dynamic. positive, but don't propose, let things propose themselves to you. If you know the precise way of doing this, be sure that always the planets propose the right thing to you and they never mislead you. And always you will have only what others call success and not the other alternative. To you it is not success because your work will be the work of the humanity and not yours. But in the eyes of others, you are a wonderful success. To you, you are a worker and one of the disciples of the planets who are the helpers. This is the outlook we are expected to have in mind and practice when we want to be spiritualists in astrological sense. Thank you all. Astrology tells us that we have to leave the room. Any brought forth of karma from the previous acts, so that you are not conditioned or involved. At the same time, you are not idle or lazy to postpone. Be dynamic and positive. Don't propose, let things propose themselves to you. If you know the precise way of doing this, be sure that always the planets propose the right thing to you. And always you will have only what others call success and not the other alternative. To you it is not success because your work will be the work of the humanity and not yours. But in the eyes of others, you are a wonderful success. To you, you are a worker and one of the disciples of the planets who are the helpers. This is the outlook we are expected to have in mind and practice when we want to be spiritualists in astrological sense. Thank you all. Astrology tells us that we have to leave the